Welcome to the Real Film Nerds Podcast.
Welcome back, everyone, to another incredible, exciting, stupendous, scrum-diddly-umptious episode of the Real Film Nerds Podcast. I'm your host, Mr. Matt Hinshaw, out here in Arizona, Prescott in particular. And with me, as always, my good buddy, my raging alcoholic friend. Okay, fine, he's probably not raging, and he's probably not an alcoholic either because he doesn't go to meetings. I think he's just a drunk, like all of us. Mysterious Mike.
Well, okay, I'm going to take that intro, I guess. That's all right.
I know, that was not my best one. That one was pretty shitty.
Yeah, that wasn't the best.
Well, we can start over again.
No, it's fine. We will continue on.
We will push through. We will persevere.
Yes.
Are you sure? Because we can start over. I just was trying to figure something out off the top of my head, and that didn't work. It really didn't work at all.
No, let's go. Let's tear it up.
All right, fine, Mike. Wherever I go, the wind follows, and the wind smells like rain. That is a quote from this week's movie, an animated flick that we were promising everyone we were going to review last week. But, you know, Christmas, we had to do Die Hard. I mean, that's like a law, right, Mike?
Yes, it is. In fact, there's actually a screening of Die Hard coming up at one of the movie theaters that I may or may not go to just for Christmas.
I think you'll probably be there for sure.
Yep. Depends on what's going on,
Well, come on, you're off. You don't have to work. You have nothing but free time. You can run around, see all kinds of movies, drink all kinds of booze, go to, I don't know, the ocean, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, but it's a little cold, Here in Intercourse, it's 40. I mean, it's not as cold as it is there in Prescott.
Dude, today has been really freaking cold. It's been really cold. There's no snow, but it's cold. Oh, hey, not to get too much off topic, but our hometown got snow.
What?
Yeah, they haven't gotten snow in a long time, and they got snow. And my mom was talking to me a little bit about it. The new puppy was running around in the snow, and he loves it.
Your mom got a new puppy?
Yeah, I thought I told you she got a second dog.
No. I didn't know.
Oh, yeah, it was kind of, I guess you would say, a Christmas present from my dad. He got her he's a black lab dachshund mix.
That's an interesting mix, but okay. He's a little bit smaller, I guess.
Yeah, he's about 30 pounds.
Oh, okay.
And he's about 2.5 years old, and he is a puppy. He likes to play and run around and have fun, and he's a really kind of neat, fun, cool dog.
Oh, okay. So he's pretty potty trained and all that. So he's like a puppy like mentality, but he's a little bit more grown up as far as training and stuff.
Yeah, he's on the edge of becoming an adult dog and a puppy. So
yeah, like a teenager, adolescent dog.
Yeah, there you go. He still likes to get in trouble and have fun and run around. So speaking of animals, the movie that we are talking about today that we meant to talk about last week is Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. See, that was a good segue, except for spider isn't an animal. But hey, whatever.
Yeah, no, well, you could have gone Spider-Pigs in it, so there's an animal.
And it's not Spider-Pig. Spider-Pig is in The Simpsons. It is Spider-Ham.
My bad.
Also known as Peter Porker.
Okay, yes, Peter Porker. It just sounds dirty, dude. It just sounds dirty.
I love saying Peter Porker. That's
okay.
That's what I got Andrew for Christmas was a Peter Porker t-shirt.
Nice. Very cool.
I was kind of depressed because when we got out of the movie seeing it for my second time, I asked him who his favorite character was, and he said Miles Morales. And I'm like, crap, he's going to hate his Christmas present. Oh, well.
Oh, well, I mean, it's still cool.
Yeah, he still liked it. And then I got him a Spider-Man action figure as well, and he liked that as well. So, anywho, All right, Mike. Well, why don't you go ahead and give us the rundown on Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse?
All right, so it's Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. It is an animated feature, and it is directed by Bob Persichetti, Peter Ramsey, and Rodney Rothman. The writers for screenplay are Phil Lord, Rodney Rothman, and it's starring Shamik Moore, Jake Johnson, Haley Steinfeld, Mahershala Ali, Zoe Kravitz, Nicolas Cage is in this as somewhat of a minor character, but I could definitely tell that it was him. I know he's a huge comic book fan, so that was like a dream come true, I think, for him.
Dude, he was freaking awesome as Spider-Man Noir. I don't care. Spider-Man Noir is like one of my favorites from the Spider-Verse in the comic book world. But the dream come true for Nick Cage, as terrible as it was Ghost Rider. Ghost Rider is Nick Cage's favorite comic book character like ever. He loves Ghost Rider. He even has a Ghost Rider tattoo.
Wow. Okay. Well, and then the summary of this movie is Miles Morales becomes Spider-Man of his reality, crossing his path with 5 counterparts from other dimensions to stop a threat from all realities. Or for all realities.
Yeah, close enough.
Yeah.
It's all good, man. But,
so, Matt, you saw this movie twice.
Yes.
Twice, people.
I did.
So, what do you think about it?
You know what's even crazier, too, is my nephew, Michael, I think has seen it at least 3 or 4 times, if not more now.
3 or 4 times?
Yes, because he went once with his younger brother, Andrew, and then I took Michael and Andrew. We gave him the option to see either Bumblebee or Spider-Man because they both started at the same time, and he said he wanted to see Spider-Man, so they both saw it their second time then, and I saw it my second time then. And then he, I believe, went with his girlfriend. And then I think my mom said they went, but I couldn't place when they would have gone. But she claimed she saw it. So I don't know. Whatever.
Well, wow. So.
But yes, I, being a huge comic book nerd, especially the Marvel Universe, for me, this movie is a true comic book come to life on the screen. This is the best adaptation I have ever seen. It feels like a comic book. The drawings have textures. The individual characters look completely different from one another in one way, shape, or another. They're just, it's phenomenal. It's a comic book come to life. How they shot it, how they have panels that fold like a comic book, how they have balloons that pop up, how it's just, they knocked this one out of the park, man. I freaking love this. And I really hope that this leads to a whole world of really well done, thought out, great story, superhero animations. I don't care if it's DC or Marvel or Image or whatever. I hope this leads to a whole nother level of animated superhero comic style movies. I think that would just be phenomenal. Now, I'm not saying we need a million of them, but like 1 or 2 a year, really good ones would be so much fun.
Yeah, but I don't know if Hollywood understands not having a million of them. They're probably going to release like 10 of them, and then like if one of them fails, they'll be like, we can't do this anymore.
But the quality, if they do that, goes down dramatically, and that's one reason why this is so successful, because the art style, the voice acting, I mean, look at the cast, you know? I mean, Oscar Isaacs has a small role in it. Chris Pine has a small role in it. Jake Johnson, Haley Steinfeld. I mean, these are all A-list freaking actors.
Yeah, no, it's a lot of great actors. It's a well-done story. The animation, like, I don't know exactly how they did it, but it was definitely a different style, and like stuff was like blurry on the outside of like the center of the picture and stuff. It was a neat way of doing it, I thought. So it looked really cool. And then they even had like, I don't know, little like texturing on some of the things that was just kind of present throughout. I don't even know how to explain it. Kind of almost like stipple stuff.
Oh yeah, well
Matt,
that's one of the.
That?
Oh, yeah. Well, that's what I was alluding to earlier, is that's what makes it look so much like a comic book, is that each individual character, backgrounds, set pieces, whatever, they all have a different texture to them. Some of them have cross-hatching. Some of them have vertical lines. Some of them do have stippling. It's a lot of very true-to-life stylized drawing and painting ways that are prevalent in this film. And I listened to a little bit. I should have researched it more on how they did this, but I do know some of it, if not a large majority of it, was hand-drawn. It's not all 100% computer animation. There is a lot of computer animation, but there's a lot of hand-drawn as well.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's cool. I wouldn't be able to tell, like, I wasn't sure, so I wasn't going to say anything about that, but I imagine that this just took an army of animators, I bet, to create, because there's so many characters and different things, and it was very visually a satisfying movie. It was cool.
Well, and that's the other thing too, is a lot of, I don't know how many superhero cartoons you've watched before this that are 100% hand drawn. They are immersive worlds, but they're not big worlds like this. Like, the set pieces in this really feel like New York. Granted, I've never been there, but other movies based in New York, like the original Sam Raimi's Spider-Man and stuff like that, it really feels a lot like that. It really does in this, universe, because how they drew it and how big and vast these sets are. And it's phenomenal. It really is.
I like the PDNY instead of NYPD.
Well, and that's that. I mean, now we can really slide down the rabbit hole on that. There's Easter eggs frickin' galore in this movie. Galore. Everywhere. There are some super deep cut Easter eggs too. I mean, really deep cuts. But, so.
Yeah. Did you, speaking of that, I'm sure, everyone, as you should well know by now, you need to stay to the end of this movie for the credits when you see it. Just saying.
It is a Marvel movie, even though it's a Sony Marvel movie. It still has a mid-credits scene and it has an end-credits scene. So make sure to stay all the way to the end. It's fun. I have a theory on that, and we'll get into that in the spoilers. But for those of you who do not read comic books, do not research Spider-Man, do not pay attention that well, Miles Morales is from an alternate universe. In the comic book world, our Earth, the Earth we all reside on, is known as Earth 616. Miles Morales is from the Ultimate Universe Earth. I don't remember the exact number. I really didn't care much. But it kind of started with the Ultimate Universe with Miles Morales, and he was the Spider-Man there. And then that morphed into this Spider-Verse thing that came about in the early 2010, I think, I don't remember exactly when Spider-Verse came out. 2014, maybe? I think it was maybe 2014. And Spider-Verse opened up all these different universes with all these different Spider-Men and just blew the door wide open. And so all these different universes have different things. And you can see all kinds of fun Easter eggs in the background. Like, they have a billboard for Coke, but it's not really Coke. It's a Never brand. But here's one that I think you super nerds, especially movie nerds, will love. And I bet you probably missed it, Mike. And it's in there about 3 or 4 times. In the background of Times Square, there's a giant movie poster, and it's a sequel for Shaun of the Dead.
I did see some stuff in there that I was like, that looks like I think it was real quick, and I was trying to place it, but Shaun of the Dead, okay. I think I almost caught it because they did show it a few times, but it is pretty quick, and I didn't see it twice. If I saw it twice, I would have looked there.
Now, how you can tell it's a sequel, I don't remember the name, but how you can tell it's a sequel, on the poster of it, it has Sean with his red tie and all that, and his name tag and all that stuff. But the other character played by Nick Frost is already a zombie. In the poster.
Okay, yeah, that makes a lot of sense, because in the movie, he's like kind of his pet who's out in the shed.
Right.
And they play video games even though he could try and eat them. Like,
Right.
he just has to keep them away.
And so that's one of the Easter eggs. And there's stuff like this all over in this movie that are just fun little shout outs to, like, another one is they go kind of like to the spider cave, and there's all these Spider-Man suits in there. And every single one of those are legitimate suits that are referenced either in the video games or the comic books. And there's one that's even a crazy, super deep cut when it literally appeared in, I think, like one comic book a long time ago when Spider-Man actually wore a suit from Carnage or something. And it's an all red spider suit. And it literally has only ever been seen like once. And that was in there. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool. Yeah. I mean, obviously, the creators of this movie love Spider-Man, and they put their heart and soul into it. And it showed. It's awesome.
Oh, yeah. It shows big time. Big time. And I have to say, for those of you who haven't seen the trailer, I'm sure all of you have seen it now. They're playing it everywhere. But there is a plethora of Spider-Men in here. There's Spider-Gwen, Spider-Ham, Spider-Man Noir, believe it or not, the old crotchety Spider-Man that's played by Jake Johnson is actually the Spider-Man from Sam Raimi's movies. That is Spider-Man from 616.
Oh, okay.
All these Spider-Men from different universes are just really cool, really fun. They're pulled straight from the comic books. Spider-Gwen became a huge hit. She's actually Spider-Woman, but she's Spider-Gwen because she's Gwen Stacy. She is a huge hit and continues to have her own book to this day. Rumors are the sequel to this will probably be a Spider-Gwen Miles Morales movie because she's just such a big hit because she's so unique.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Yeah. No. This definitely did feel like a comic book, and it was fun like a comic book. But there was a little bit of seriousness in it. Of course, there should be because that was part of the story and stuff. But yeah, this was just a good, entertaining, fun movie. Very surprising that Sony did this. I guess there's hope for Spider-Man at Sony.
Well, what's interesting is if you think about it, Venom was not the world's best movie. I enjoyed it. I thought it was fun. I thought it was entertaining, but it's not on the level of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. But Venom did extremely well worldwide. Extremely well. It actually has done better than most of the DC movies. And so Sony is for sure going to be making a Venom sequel. And so this is now two Sony Spider World movies. So clearly this is like the start of a franchise. Clearly.
Yeah, and they were involved with Spider-Man Homecoming, right? Like it was like a Marvel and Sony because it was kind of like...
They're involved, but for the most part, Marvel is the one running the show and Sony is just collecting the money. Not all of it, but a portion.
Yeah, like maybe Sony was like distributing the movie for some reason. I'm not sure why. That's pretty lucrative if you have a movie that's going to do well.
Yeah, it's something like that. I don't know the exact specifics, but one thing that people are afraid of, especially with Into the Spider-Verse and Venom doing so well, is that when I think it's a 2 or 3 movie deal that Marvel Cinematic Universe cut with Sony to have Spider-Man back in their universe, when that comes to a close, they're afraid that Sony might not renew it because they might want to have their own, Spider-Man show up in Venom and things like that. And Marvel is trying to distance themselves from Venom and from Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse and all that stuff. MCU is, sorry, not Marvel. It is Marvel.
Oh, right. Yeah, okay.
Because MCU, the guy that runs it, was it Kevin Feige? He wants 100%, 100% complete control over the different properties, be it a movie, TV show, whatever. He wants to control the thing 100% so it all melts together in the MCU. And Sony, Sony doesn't want to play ball, I guess is a good way to put it on a lot of it. Or so they say.
Yeah.
So who knows?
Okay.
Who knows what the future has? We'll see. I would like to see Spider-Man still be in the MCU. I think he's a major factor, especially in the Avengers. I mean, he's a big player in Avengers, and I personally would like to see Venom go into the MCU as well. That would be great, but I don't think we'll ever get that. So, all right, Mike. I can sit here and talk about this shit all day long.
I do.
I know we need to get into our spoilers. So even though this is a Marvel movie, I'm still going to ask the question because it is not a Marvel Cinematic Universe movie. So, Mike, how does Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse relate to the Marvel Cinematic Universe?
So this one's not too hard. For the official relation, I'm going to go with the producer, Avi Arad. He was a producer on Iron Man and actually the Spider-Man from 2002. But that one's not in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And then there's always Stan Lee, R.I.P. And then there's also Mahershala Ali, who is in Luke Cage. So there's quite a few relations. And this one's not too hard. But,
Everybody loves and misses Stan Lee, and it was actually his birthday on Friday, December 28th. And it was known as Stan Lee Day. And those of us in the comic book world and things posted tributes to Mr. Stan Lee. I'm sorry I slacked on Facebook. I didn't put one up on our social medias, but I should have. But yeah, it was Stan Lee Day this past Friday. So rest in peace, Stan Lee. Thank you for creating not just characters, but an entire universe for us. It's a lot of fun.
Yes. Because without this, Hollywood would be completely gone.
I don't know about gone, but it definitely wouldn't quite have the same quality or fun factor, I guess you would say. Especially not the comic book world too. I mean, geez, there are some really fascinating, intriguing stories that are coming out nowadays. Definitely not for kids.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think it helped tap an untapped market for unique ideas for Hollywood because they were running out of ideas with remaking just old movies that people hadn't seen in like 30 years, and then the books and stuff. Like I feel like by tapping into the comic book world, they've gotten this rich plethora of new stories, new characters, new just stuff to talk about, and that has helped them do what they need to do to be able to make movies again and good movies and all that stuff. And MCU is a very good example, but like there's the DC universe and stuff. And I mean, even Universal's thinking about having some kind of like weird dark universe with like their old horror characters, like the old Wolfman and the creature from the Black Lagoon and all that stuff.
And that's actually known as the Universal Monsters. And
yes,
they tried to bring that world back, and it failed miserably because they did it wrong. They did it not how people wanted to see. They did make one film for their Universal Monsters universe, and it flopped hard, and they canceled all the other ones that they were going to make. And
oh man, I think that it was the Mummy. The
Mummy
Tom
starring
Cruise
Tom
Mummy.
Cruise, right, and it flopped so hard they canceled all the other ones. And I think if they would have stuck to, I don't want to say the formula because I mean there's not really a formula, but like the Brendan Fraser Mummy movies, those were really fun, very different, Indiana Jones like, but those were still technically Mummy movies. If they would have done a fun, cool, dark universe like that with that Tom Cruise movie instead of that, I still haven't seen it to this day because I've heard it's so bad. But if they would have done something more fun like the Brendan Fraser ones, I think there would be a market for that. I really do.
Yeah. The Brendan Fraser one was very, very fun. And maybe if they kept it kind of like, I I don't know, like, not to get off too topic, but another movie that we'll be reviewing future is Aquaman, and it's kind of campy, but it's fun. It's cheesy. And so was The Mummy. It was kind of cheesy, but it was fun. So yeah. I don't know.
But so's even this movie, Spider-Man in the Universe. It is campy and cheesy at parts, but that's, you know, it knows what it is. It's not trying to be serious. It's not trying to be dramatic. It's not trying to be The Dark Knight. It's trying to be a comic book movie, and they succeed. They do well. Comic books are sometimes cheesy. They're sometimes campy. A lot of shit is like that. And just accept it. Own it, you know?
Yeah, like bad jokes, but like they know they're bad jokes, not jokes that they thought were going to be funny and they just don't land. Like, you know, so it's fun.
Well,
I don't know.
And here's a little tidbit of information on the Universal Monsters world. The Universal Monsters universe movies are all very old. I mean, we're talking, you know, 20s, 30s, 40s. A lot of the creators, such as Stan Lee and Jack Kirby and all these guys that created Spider-Man and Captain America and not Superman, maybe a little bit of Superman, but a lot of these guys that created, and women that created and wrote and did all these comic book characters starting out, and even to this day, always go back to the Universal Monsters and say how inspired they were by them and how much they love that universe and they love those movies.
Yeah.
So
no, that's all right, Matt. So,
anyways, I could talk
not
forever.
Yeah, to not run too long.
Well, I did screw up a lot of stuff at the beginning, but
yeah. So to not run too long, Matt. Let's what do you want to talk about? Spoilers a little bit. Like, do you want to say anything, or what do you want to? What do you want to talk about?
I don't know. We could talk a little bit about it. I mean, you know, I think most people have seen this movie or should go see this movie. I highly recommend them. They do. One thing that I was alluding to earlier is that what I would like to see is a sequel, and it felt like they teased it at the end. But in the comic book Spider-Verse, Spider-Man 2099, which is the very end final teaser credit scene, is Spider-Man 2099 travels to the Spider-Man 1967 universe, and they do that classic meme of the Spider-Man pointing at the Spider-Man, but it's 2099 instead of 67 pointing to 67. Well,
yeah.
That was Oscar Isaac that voiced Spider-Man 2099. So why would you pay someone that has that kind of A-list star power to do that small of a cameo unless there's something coming down the line? See what I mean?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Unless Oscar Isaac said, I want to be in this movie, I don't care, I will do it for free. Unless he did something like that, but I highly doubt it. So that says to me that we are possibly going to get a legit Spider-Verse movie like what was in the comic books, because Spider-Man 2099 in the comic books is one of the main Spider-Men in the story arc of Spider-Verse. He, I don't know if he's the one that invented it, but he's the one that uses a lot. He has a technology where he can control jumping from universe to universe to universe. And so and you see that at the end, he jumps to the 1967 universe. And so in the comic book, he gets the devices, hands them out to all the different Spider-Man. And that's what they do, is they jump from universe to universe to universe trying to hide.
Oh, okay.
Because the actual Spider-Verse story in the comic book is very dark and screwed up. It's really dark. And so maybe we'll get an adult Spider-Verse movie that's not going to be, you know, what was this, PG-13 or was this PG?
I think it's PG-13. I don't think it's PG.
So it might possibly be a rated R movie, the next one, because, I mean, it's PG. Yep, it's only PG.
Oh, wow. All right, cool. PG.
Because the comic book story is very dark and messed up. For those of you who haven't read it, I won't spoil it, but it is. It's jacked up. It's well worth a read, but it's screwed up. So I'm hoping that's what we see. But as they've already alluded to and kind of announced, there will probably be a sequel with Spider-Gwen and Miles Morales, which will be fun. That'll be cool. But I really liked Spider-Man Noir, especially as Nick Cage playing him. That was great.
Yeah. Like, as soon as I heard it, I'm like, that's Nick Cage.
Oh, yeah. It was so good. And one of the reasons why I like the Spider-Man Noir character so much is, Spider-Man is pretty hardcore about not killing people. He's not as hardcore as, like, Batman. But Spider-Man Noir blatantly walks around with a gun shooting people. Like, he has no problem killing people.
Oh, all right.
Which is kind of an interesting take on Spider-Man. So, Mike, did you have a favorite Spider-Man in this movie?
I don't know. I kind of like the down and out Spider-Man. Which one is that one? The one from our universe?
Yep, that's the Sam Raimi Spider-Man 616. I liked that a lot too. Jake Johnson did a great job with him because he's the 40-year-old Spider-Man he's so bitter.
Yeah.
Life has just wronged him. Yeah, it reminds me so much of me. It's life has wronged him so bad.
Yeah, so I like that character. I thought he was good. So that was fun for me. I mean, this movie was really fun, and it was very comic book-like. Even their, like, visualizations of the spider sense detecting, hey, you're like me. I like that. I like that a lot.
Yeah, and especially how they showed it, too. With the lightning bolts and stuff coming off their head. That was pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that. I thought that was cool. It was goofy at times. It was serious at times. It was a comic book. It was exactly what a comic book is. The villain is a bad guy, but you see his backstory and you feel for him a little bit, but he's still a bad guy, and it's that stuff's cool. There's a little bit of mixing of Miles Morales, his uncle is involved in some things, and yeah, so like it's got a lot of cool stuff, cool story stuff. So I thought that was all good. It was well done, and it's pretty long for an animated movie too. I think it runs about 2 hours, which is long for an animated movie. So props to all the people that made this happen, because I'm sure this was whew.
Oh, it had to have been a challenge, man. It had to have. Yeah, it's 117 minutes, so it's just shy of 2 hours.
To kind of keep us on target time a little bit, what do you give Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse? What is your rating?
Now most of the critics are saying this is like the best Spider-Man movie ever. They're giving it perfect scores. I have to say, I'm pretty damn close to that. I give it 4.5.
Nice, dude. Nice. Yeah, I was really impressed by this movie as well.
The only reason I dropped it down a half a reel is because there's little things that kind of bother me throughout. You were alluding to Kingpin, who is the main villain in it. I wasn't a huge fan of how Kingpin was drawn. I mean, he's big, intimidating, but it looks like a floating head in the middle of a black mass, and I think they could have done a little bit better with that. But it's just tiny little nitpicky kind of things. That's why I only dropped it a half a reel, or else I probably would have given it a perfect score. Is it the best Spider-Man movie ever? I don't know. I really like Sam Raimi's Spider-Man. The original one and the second one, the third one we won't talk about. That was a hot mess. I really enjoyed those with Tobey Maguire. But this was just an all-around really fantastic, great movie that if you're into comic books, you're into Spider-Man, or you're into just wanting to have a good time at the theaters, I highly suggest you go see this. If you have kids, take your kids. They'll go freaking bananas over it. They really will. I have not met a kid out of all my coworkers' kids, my nephews, the kids in the theater. I haven't run across a kid that has not liked this movie. They are just going bananas over this.
Yeah. No, this is a kid-friendly movie, and I echo you in saying I recommend it too. Do you want me to give my rating right now, or?
Yes, Mike, go ahead. Let's hear how many reels you give Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
So I'm gonna give Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse 4 reels because I really like this movie, and
4 reels? Man, you are a curmudgeon.
I am who I am. I'm very harsh, but I try. I don't know. To me, I have to love a movie so much for it to be 5 reels. So that's why there's only so few of them. But anyway, if it's a 4 reel for me, it's a pretty good movie, and you should probably watch it. So I would recommend you see this if you can in the theaters. If not, see it when you can see it. But this is a good movie.
Okay, I'll let it slide. I'll just say this. You are the curmudgeon when it comes to ratings. I am the curmudgeon in real life.
Okay, all right. so you see things a lot better. You see the glass is half full, and I see it like half.
Huh. All right.
I don't know.
But, well, anyways, yeah, this isn't a movie you have to see in the theaters because I don't know. The visuals will probably look good pretty much anywhere. The sound design was fantastic. It really helped a lot, especially the soundtrack and things. Is it a must-see in the theaters? I would say maybe. If you can't bring your kids or you can't get away to go see it, I think enjoying it at home on a nice big 55-inch plus TV will probably give you the same feeling to a degree. I don't know. We'll see when it comes out. I have to say I will probably buy this on Blu-ray. I don't know if I'll buy it the day it comes out, but I'll probably pick it up because I did enjoy it a lot. And I think it's a wonderful example of how a comic book animated film should be done. And so I want it in my collection.
Yeah, no, that's cool.
But, what do you think, Mike? Do you think people must see this in the theaters, or do you think it's, you could wait if you can't afford it?
Yeah, I think you could wait if you can't afford it. I understand the movies have gotten pretty crazy expensive, especially like 3D and all these different like 4D experiences and Dolby Atmos and I don't know what else. Like the biggest screen, IMAX, Quattro, supersize, whatever. So I understand, but I would say to see this when you can, because it is a pretty good, a really good comic book movie, if not the best as far as being just like a comic book. So.
That's one I did hear though from a couple of reviews that I've read and watched on the YouTubes. Is that if you're going to see a movie in IMAX and pay the extra money and be in this giant, screen, that this is a pretty good one to see in IMAX because, again, it is animation. A lot of it is computer generated. And so it just looks gorgeous on the giant screen because, it's almost the full IMAX resolution the whole time.
Oh, yeah, that's awesome.
So it is one that if you can afford it or you want to do it or you have an IMAX, which I don't here in town, it is one that is worth seeing in IMAX from what I've read.
Okay, yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I know it's an option out there sometimes for people, and there's a lot of weird options because it seems like all the theater chains have come up with their own little like premium brand. What do they call it? Like 4DX or I don't know. AMC has a name for theirs. I don't even remember all. It's kind of dumb. You get confused.
Well, I've only seen, other than the fancy IMAX, like the screen, the whole roof screen IMAX thing. I've only seen one movie in IMAX, and I was actually in college because it was really freaking expensive. And I know it's still expensive today, but the tickets were like $20 or $25. But I drove from Tempe all the way to basically where my sister lives now. It's actually the theater my sister Frank and I go to like when I'm down there, to the IMAX there, and I saw the Dark Knight in it. Was that the first one?
Oh, man. No, Dark Knight was the second one.
The second one? It was the first one.
What is the first one
See,
called?
I always get those names screwed up. Anyways, the very first one of the Dark Knight series, Batman, basically, is the one that I saw at IMAX. And it
Batman Begins. That's
Batman
what it's
Begins. There you go. And I saw that at the IMAX, and it was actually it was either a birthday present or a Christmas present. I don't remember when it came out, from my girlfriend at the time. And, we went to a really nice dinner and drove all the way there, but it was an incredible experience. And I haven't been back since, one, because I can't really afford it, and two, I don't have an IMAX nearby. I'd have to go all the way down there to see it. But,
Yeah,
if you have one, do it. And you can afford it, go for it. Why not?
Yeah, I remember going to watch The Dark Knight in IMAX because I knew that Christopher Nolan had shot some of the big action scenes in IMAX, so it would be the full screen, and it was amazing. It was overwhelming. It was awesome.
Now that I think about it, it might have been The Dark Knight because, I don't think they shot anything in Batman Begins in IMAX.
No, that was the first one. That was the one that was kind of came out of nowhere, and everybody's like, "Wow, that was really good."
Yeah,
who made that?
Yeah, I think it was The Dark Knight that I saw in IMAX. I don't remember. I don't even know if I'd be able to look it up, but yeah, I think so. I don't know. I just remember I was blown away. It was so amazing. So, anyways.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
All right, Mike. Well, anything else you want to add about Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse other than everybody should go see it now, especially if you haven't seen it by now?
No. I think you've covered it. Everyone should go see it right now if they haven't seen it by now.
Sounds good. All right, so coming up on Thursday, we promised before Christmas that we were going to review a movie that is getting absolutely destroyed by the critics, and that is Welcome to Marwen. So that is one movie we're going to do on Thursday. We are going to do our best to try and keep it to a half hour. It might be a little difficult, but we're going to do a triple feature on Thursday because there's been so many freaking movies that came out, and I have seen a lot of them. I know you've seen a lot of them too, Mike. How many movies have you seen in the past week and a half?
Oh man, I think I've seen 6 movies in the last week and a half. It's insane. I pretty much go to the theater every day.
Yep, I have seen it's either 6 or 7 movies in the past week and a half. Having a few days off for Christmas really helped. I saw 2 movies on Christmas Day itself. And speaking of that, that is one of the movies in our triple feature that we are going to discuss. Actually, both of them are. We're going to discuss Bumblebee as well, and we are also going to discuss Adam McKay's latest political biopic, I guess you would say, and that is Dick Cheney's story named Vice.
Yep.
So,
yeah.
There are 3 kind of big-ish kind of movies, so we're going to try not to spend too much because they've been out for a little bit, but we definitely want to give you our thoughts and opinions on all 3 of them. So I think we're going to do them in release order. So we're going to do Bumblebee first, and then we'll do Welcome to Marwen, and then we will close it out with Vice. So that'll be fun. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah. We'll see. Should be good.
All right, Mike. Well, I think that's it for me. We're got what's coming up. I guess we should probably say welcome to 2019 because it is New Year's Day today. So.
Oh, yes. Welcome to 2019. Real Film Nerds will be exploding in the media this year. So just get ready, people.
That's a good one. Not to extend our podcast even freaking more. But Mike, what is your goal with Real Film Nerds in this next coming year?
I would like to have, a bigger audience. And I'm going to try and promote it more through the socials and all the various networks of friends and family. And we'll see what we can do. And I just want to get better at talking about movies and pronouncing things, and just work on the overall feel of the show. So
Nice. I like it. Well, I will echo a lot of that. I would like our numbers to grow. I'm not trying to be unrealistic, but you and I have discussed this in private a few times. My ultimate goal with this podcast is I would like to get to the point where we get 100 downloads an episode. I would like to get to that point. That would make me very, very happy. Is 2019 that year? I don't know. And I'm not talking 100 downloads an episode in one day. That would be incredible. But like if we put out an episode on Tuesday, it would be nice to hit 100 downloads by the end of the week. I don't think that's asking too much. So
yeah. No, that'd be great. I think those are good goals. We're not trying to go crazy. I mean, if it does go crazy, that'd be great. But we're realistic. So
yeah. So I'd like to see that. And then the other one is I'd like to get a little bit more articulate when it comes to reviewing movies themselves. And I'm pretty decent at speaking at this microphone, but I do stumble a lot, especially when I start thinking before the words come out. I tend to stumble over stuff, so I kind of want to streamline a little bit of that. So I guess getting better at speaking to our audience will help, and also maybe trying to stick to our half-hour time slot. I don't know. But that's
you're pretty terrible at it. You're terrible at the half-hour time slot.
I know. I'm really bad. It's a pretty big goal on that one. I just ramble too much. Maybe that's one of my problems. I don't know.
Yeah, you're a rambler. But we do get off topic sometimes, and sometimes it's good off topic because it's all about other movies, and people love to know that are passionate about all these different movies. So,
that's one thing that's interesting. That's one thing that's interesting that I have had a few of our listeners come up and tell me that they like when we go kind of off topic at times and dive deeper into the movie, not just what we thought about it, but the trivia and the facts and how it relates to different things and the actors and stuff like that. I found that a handful of our listeners have said they really, really kind of enjoy that, even though it extends the podcast a bit, because it's just stuff that they don't know and they would never care to look up. And it's just fascinating sometimes.
Yeah. No, that's great. That's good feedback. So maybe if we could try and still keep it into 30 minutes, but then have some of the time for this extra offshoots. So, work on our structure, I guess.
Yeah, that's probably a good way. I don't know. We'll see. All right, Mike. Well, again, Happy New Year, everybody. Welcome to 2019. I hope this year is a hell of a lot better for me than it was for my last year. So I don't know. We'll see.
Yes, I'm hoping for a good year as well. So, all right. Thanks everybody for listening, and we'll catch you on our next pod.
Thank you for listening to The Real Film Nerds. Now don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Real Film Nerds. Now go out and catch a movie.